like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I'm DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And in today's edition, we actually got more Funko Pop announcements than I actually thought there was going to be this week. Anyways, besides that we will talk about today, starting with those sweet black light Marvel Pops. We do have the usual segments of Quentin Quarantino and Pandem News, but we do have the returning segment of Unanswered Questions, which we'll get into that when we get to that segment. But also, after we talk about the latest Funko Pop announcements, we will be talking about the future of Funko, especially with the recent announcement of Funko letting go approximately 250 employees due to the pandemic. So let's start off right now with the Quentin Quarantino segment, where we talk about what movies we've watched, TV shows we've watched, video games we've played, anything we have done during quarantine or during this pandemic. Obviously, starting out with MD Shady like usual.
All right, so for video games, honestly, it's so weird. I haven't been playing any video games, which is really crazy. I'm really excited for the new SpongeBob remastered game to come out. I think it comes out on the 24th of June. And then I'll definitely be playing a lot of that game for sure, because I remember playing, I think it's called Battle for Bikini Bottom, if I'm not mistaken. I played a lot of that as a kid, so I'm definitely going to be playing that within the next couple of weeks. Besides that, I've just been playing Pokemon Go. For movies that I've watched recently, I have watched Edward Scissorhands. I watched Benjamin Button. I watched Country Bears, which is an awesome movie.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. Geez, what else have I watched? On Stranger Tides, the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and now I'm on to the last one. I don't have it on me, but the new live-action Dora the Explorer movie.
Oh, geez. I forgot they made that.
Yeah, I forgot about it too. And I was at Walmart the other day and I saw it was there for like $10 or $12, whatever it was. And I was like, you know what? I'll give this a shot. And actually, it was not too bad of a movie for what it is. I expected it to be pretty cringy, and it honestly was like pretty good, actually. Like, it's hard to explain because obviously it's a kid's movie, but it was very interesting, and I think it was well made for the demographic that it is supposed to be for. And then I also watched the new live action Kim Possible movie, which was all right as well. I expected that movie to be really bad, but it was all right.
I didn't even know they made a live-action Kim Possible movie. That's the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. It came out last year.
Oh, I didn't even know it was on Disney Plus either.
Yeah, and then after I watched it, I was like, you know what, I might as well just watch Kim Possible. So I pretty much binged like the whole first season of Kim Possible in one night, the other night. So.
All right, for me, so obviously I'd mentioned last week that as last week's podcast would have been released, I'd be binging the fourth and final season of 13 Reasons Why. And I know I'm going to have to bleep myself out for this, but holy shit, man. Holy mother of God. That season was just so intense. Anyone hasn't seen 13 Reasons Why yet? It's such an intense show. And especially the fourth season, it was so crazy what they've done. And the ending of it, I think it was a pretty good send-off, I would say. A little bit of a sad ending. Obviously, if you've seen the season, you would know what I'm probably talking about. But then after that, I don't think I watched any movies, honestly, now as I think about it. After 13 Reasons, I didn't really know what to binge, so I actually binged in one day the Last Dance documentary about Michael Jordan. That was a pretty good documentary, actually. They didn't really just talk about Michael Jordan. They talked about some of the key players like Dennis Rodman,
and Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I literally forgot. I remember it was Scottie, but I always forget the last name. So yeah, Scottie Pippen. And then there was another guy I can't remember. But yeah, it was a pretty cool documentary. I popped huge when they actually mentioned about Dennis Rodman and his appearance on WCW. Popped. I loved it. I was like, yes. It was literally at that moment too. They're like talking about the 98 NBA finals or whatever.
Yeah, and I've watched most of the documentary. I think I have like an episode or two left. So
they're literally talking about the 98 finals, and they're talking about, oh, where's Dennis? And literally at the moment, I'm like, please show WCW. Please show WCW. All you see is Hollywood Hulk Hogan with Dennis Rodman. They're like hitting DDP with a chair. Oh my God. I was like, yes, this is awesome. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty good documentary. And then yesterday, I finally started watching Star Wars The Clone Wars. I binged the entire first season yesterday, and I watched, I think, an episode of the second season before we just started recording this. Pretty good series so far. I kind of find it weird that they're considering Anakin a Jedi Master, even though isn't in Revenge of the Sith. One of the reasons why he turned to the dark side was because the Jedi Council refused him to become a master.
Yeah.
I kind of find that weird. Ahsoka's all right. I'm getting used to her, but Cad Bane is a goddamn badass.
Yeah, Cad Bane's pretty cool.
I'm loving Cad Bane right now. I like some of the clone troopers. I forget some of their names. I think Wax is the one guy's name, and then
there's Fives.
Yeah, of course. There's also Captain Rex, which is also awesome. And who knew that maybe I should have gotten Captain Rex, and then I could have sold him on eBay for $300. But yeah, so that's basically all I've been doing is watching 13 Reasons Why, watch The Last Dance, started watching the Clone Wars, probably will watch Rebels right after. I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon Go, not too much. I did a raid and hatched an egg yesterday, so I need to start doing that more because there is 15 of each, like we mentioned last week. So that's been a little tough. That's basically it. I know soon I'm going to have to watch Back to the Future because for those that didn't hear last week, we did reveal that our next, I guess I would call it fandom-related podcast, is on Back to the Future. And we did a poll on our Instagram where all of our followers on Instagram got to decide the title of the podcast and whether we talk about just the first movie or all three movies, in which it was voted we will be talking about all three movies. And the title of the podcast will be Great Scott, the Back to the Future podcast, which I kind of figured that was going to end up being the title. Yeah, so soon, Back to the Future, I got to rewatch that, get prepared for that podcast, and hopefully very soon, I think we mentioned this a few weeks ago, or it actually might have been on our appearance on Organized Hoarding. We mentioned this, where we're trying to secure our second guest for a future podcast. Hopefully that podcast happens, I would say mid-July. We're going to move on to our segment of unanswered questions before we move on to the Pandem News segment, which for those new to the podcast, which we haven't had this segment in a long time. I think the last time that MD was with us for this segment was, I think, in 2019. So yeah, we got quite a bit of unanswered questions throughout 3 months worth of unanswered questions, which to explain it, it's simply we answer questions that like we ask ourselves during a podcast, but we don't have the answer to them then. So it's technically an unanswered question until later on, which now we're going to answer those questions. It's a little bit of a random segment, but first one was actually asked by MD. Were there Monster Hunter Pops made before the recent Monster Hunter Story Pops? Which the answer is yes. The recent one, like I just said, Monster Hunter Stories, but there was a wave that was just simply called Monster Hunter, in which the lineup had pops of, and I'm hopefully pronouncing these names right, but probably I won't, is Hunter, Feline, Xenogray, and Rathalos. Those are the 4 pops involved in the Monster Hunter lineup, at least from what I've seen on the Funko app. Another question asked during our Empire Strikes Back podcast, has there been an R2-D2 pop from Revenge of the Sith? Which the answer is no, according to the Funko app. But the closest thing that we have gotten to some sort of cool moment like that with R2-D2 is that they did make a Return of the Jedi R2-D2 where it's R2-D2 with all like the cups because he's acting as a server in Jabba's palace. They did do that as a pop, and I think it was a Smuggler's Bounty exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. Next question, which scene was the Funko Shop exclusive Billy Madison from with the white sweater? In which the answer to that is from the scene where the deal basically gets made, where if Billy retakes grade 1 to 12 in the certain amount of weeks, then he's able to take over his father's company when he retires. Next question, was there a Miguel with guitar pop made previously before the WonderCon exclusive? In which the answer is no, but there was a Miguel with guitar mystery mini previously made. Next one, What are the name of the droids that flew around in Hoth? This was a question we were trying to think of during our Empire Strikes Back podcast, which the specific name, if you want to get really technical for this, is the XJ9 CS14, or also known as, in more simpler terms, the Imperial Probe Droid.
Probe droids, right. Okay, yes.
And then the last one, which is a question I've been thinking of for a while, is which dual monster was Joey set as during the Shadow game in Season 1, which we were trying to think of that during our Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. And Joey was portrayed as the Flame Swordsman.
Yeah, isn't that what I said?
I don't know. I can't exactly remember. That was like a couple months ago, but...
Yeah, I knew that. I think I might have said the Celtic Warrior or whatever it is, though.
Yeah, I think... yeah, Celtic Warrior fella. So now we're moving on to Pandem news, which obviously, if you don't want to hear myself talking about the recent news of the pandemic, we do have a timestamp in the description below, like always, in which you can skip on to the next segment, which will be about the June 2020 Funko Pop announcements made this past week. So starting off with Wednesday, June 3rd, 6.5 million cases confirmed worldwide. The US surpasses 1.9 million cases, and Mexico surpasses 100,000 cases. Thursday, June 4th, 6.6 million cases confirmed worldwide. Brazil surpasses 600,000 cases. And during an autopsy of George Floyd, it was actually shown that he was tested positive for COVID-19. Friday, June 5th, 6.7 million cases confirmed worldwide. And Funko lets go of 250 employees due to the pandemic, which will be a segment later on, like we said earlier. Through June 6th and June 7th on Saturday and Sunday, 7 million cases confirmed worldwide. Saudi Arabia surpasses 100,000 cases, and the US surpasses 2 million cases. Monday, June 8th, 7.1 million cases confirmed worldwide. Brazil surpasses 700,000 cases. Pakistan surpasses 100,000 cases, and Ontario announces plans for stage 2 of reopening. And then last but not least, June 9th on the Tuesday, which was yesterday as we record this, 7.2 million cases confirmed worldwide, and Peru surpasses 200,000 cases. All right, so now we're going to move on to the June 2020 Funko Pop announcements for this week, which, like I said earlier during the intro, surprised that there was as many pop announcements as there was announced this week, in which starting off Friday, June 5th, Target had announced their own exclusive Funko Pops of Blacklight Marvel Pops, which the lineup that we have here, we have Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Doctor Strange, in which those were available for pre-order on that day, but they did sell out. But they will be released in stores June 21st. June 8th, which was Monday, it was announced technically the first San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that is technically also a previews exclusive limited to 30,000 pieces of Red Hood versus Deathstroke pop comic moments, in which Entertainment Earth says that it's going to be released as early as August, but if it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I would assume that it's going to be released at the end of July like the rest of the pops. Then on June 9th, the Funko app had confirmed the 2 pops that were featured in the Black Widow-themed Marvel Collectors Corp subscription box that happened last month in May, in which the 2 pops featured were Black Widow with grappling hook, and we have basically the normal Red Guardian, the actual human, known as Alexi. And then Hot Topic announced a couple of their own exclusives, which one is Rock Lee from the Naruto lineup, in which that's available for pre-order now, but it's expected to ship out / release as early as October 2020. And one that I am basically pumped for, but kind of not pumped for, is a Diamond Collection Alien for the Toy Story lineup, in which that's available for pre-order now also, and is expected to release as early as August 2020. Then, as we record this today, on June 10th, Funko had announced a Funko Shop drop of a 10-inch Disco Skeletor for the Masters of the Universe lineup, which will be releasing at 11 a.m. PST, 2 p.m. EST on the Funko Shop, which, as I look at my clock, it is already past 2 p.m. EST as we record this. So unknown of whether it will sell out or not, but I don't think it will because it is a 10-inch. And I think the only 10-inch, if I'm not mistaken, that is sold out like in the last year or so is the Tony the Tiger 10-inch, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And then last but not least, announced today also Funko had re-announced the 80th anniversary of Looney Tunes Pops for the lineup, in which this pop that was brand new, announced with that set, is an artist series Bugs Bunny, in which this is going to be exclusive to the Funko shop, and it's unknown of when this will release. We'll just have to wait on Funko posting it on social media to find out when this releases. So starting off with the Blacklight Marvel Pops, these are sick. Like, these are crazy good. Automatically, if I were to give an award for so far the best box art of the year, it would have to be these pops. It's basically all black. You got so many colors. The only thing really that's white in the box is the background of the pop logo and the name of Iron Man, which makes sense. Or I guess all the names, I should say. But Iron Man, this first one I'm going to look at, I really like Iron Man for this. I really like the pink colors, and I'm kind of excited to see what these look like when you put a black light to them. I don't exactly know what would be my favorite, to be honest, because all of them are really good in their own way. Like, Thor's got quite a bit of blue, and he's even got like a nice mix of 4 different colors. Captain America is also nice. I like the use of the purple that they have here. And then I feel like, though, the best pop, if you displayed them out of box, would be Doctor Strange, because of how the colors are portrayed. Like, the orange is on the face, the blue attire is nice with the yellow gloves, and you got like the pink cape, and then like the inside of the cape and even I guess the collar is purple. So it's a nice use of the color. But I think overall, for displaying them in box, and if you're like judging them by like how the pop looks in the box and everything, I would have to say either Thor or Captain America, because with the box already, the box has a lot of the orange and the pink in there, but there's not really much blue. But then when you look at the box, when you add that pop, it adds more of the blue. It makes the blue pop out more. And I think that's the same thing with Thor. But then if I'm judging it by that, I would have to say Captain America, because more of a personal reaction, because I'd rather like Captain America than Thor. But I know there are people who are hyping for Iron Man. They're hyping for Doctor Strange. So I guess realistically, like, it doesn't really matter which one is the best, because they're all basically equally great. Now, the pop comic moments, now, a lot of people are thinking this was already announced, which on a technicality it was, because if you guys remember from London Toy Fair, you did see the half with Deathstroke announced, and people thought it was just a separate pop. But then it was like taken down later on, because it was meant for this pop comic moments to feature with Red Hood, which was rumored for quite a bit now also. I kind of find it weird that they are making this a technically San Diego Comic-Con exclusive shared with previews, but the pop overall, I do like this. It's pretty cool from what I'm looking at. The colors are very nice because, you know, Deathstroke is black and orange, and then you got Red Hood, which is red. And I think it brings out the detail of the base that it's on, which the base is also really nice too. It's a really nice added detail touch. A lot of people are kind of not hyped because of the fact that like people have been wanting for a few years now for Funko to start making more limited amount of pieces for pops. And they're not really happy that they're making it limit of 30,000 pieces, because I would say around 30 to 50,000 is usually like your normal limited piece count, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of weird in a sense. And I know last year, if I'm not mistaken, they did the same thing with the glow in the dark Pickle Rick. It was a 25,000 piece item, and it ended up sitting on shelves for a little bit. It wasn't really like a sellout because there was a piece count. It's not like if it was a 1,500, 2,000, 4,000, 1,000 piece. The pops in the Marvel Collector's Corp box for Black Widow, these are cool in their own way. The Black Widow is all right. I feel like we've seen some better Black Widow pops in the recent wave that was announced earlier in the year. I mean, I do like the scuffs of dirt on Black Widow's face. And Alexei, which, if you guys remember, I talked about how it just so happens to be coincidental that you have a Russian named Alexei, and he is played by David Harbour, who was in Stranger Things, which had a Russian named Alexei in it. But this one looks pretty cool for the sense of the Red Guardian figure in his hand. The way that it looks in the glam shot looks really nice, but I don't know, though, if it actually looks as good in person as it does in this glam shot. And I'm talking about the little figure. I feel like that's a recipe for disaster when it comes to a paint job on that kind of thing. I could kind of see David Harbour in this pop, but I kind of can't, which is kind of either a good thing or a bad thing. Then we got Rock Lee from Naruto. Never seen Naruto, but there's some people that are a little bit hyped for this. People want more Naruto pops, so as for that sense, I bet people are super hyped for this pop. I think the attire is all right. I like how it's in like this mid pose, like kicking type dealio, which is really cool. I like the hair. The hair looks pretty nice. Then we got the Diamond Collection Alien, which this has been rumored for quite a bit now. There were some photos leaked a few weeks ago, and I did see them. And my overall thoughts after seeing the official, like, I guess, glam shots for these, it looks really nice with the green, honestly. I like the way that the glitter pops out with the green. Now it kind of gives me an idea of what that Oogie Boogie will look like for Hot Topic exclusive eventually with the Diamond Collection. The blue looks all right, but the green really looks nice with this glitter effect. And the one thing I'm really happy about this pop is that this isn't a part of the Toy Story 4 set. It is a part of the Toy Story set because there is no number 4 on the bottom of Toy Story, but they are going with the background of what they used for the Toy Story 4 pops, where it's the blue background. And it's not just any Toy Story lineup. It is the 25th anniversary lineup that I wanted to happen, in which we did that kind of thing for a wish list on a past podcast, which I'll put a little suggestion thingy above for that, which gives me hope that there's going to be more of these rather than the rumored Pixar Aliens pops. I'm hoping 25th anniversary, we get Prospector Pete, a new Zurg, especially because the Pop Pez looks awesome in Zurg. Skeletor looks really nice in this, honestly. I looked at this today and I'm like, wow, this looks better than the normal Skeletor, in my opinion. I really like the way that the orange goes, and I love the kind of gold attire for that. The only problem is that I feel like they shouldn't have had orange eyes, just because I feel like there's already enough orange on the skull of obviously his face. I feel like it actually would have been cool in the sense to have purple eyes. I feel like purple eyes would actually look cool on this, in my opinion, or maybe even just the normal white eyes, because there's not like any white on this pop whatsoever. But this does look really cool. This is so far probably one of, if not my favorite Masters of the Universe pop that Funko's released so far. Then we got the Artist Series Bugs Bunny, which this is amazing. This, for sure, in my opinion, so far, is the best Artist Series pop that Funko has made yet. I love the idea of just doing like you add gray, but then you just splatter a bunch of carrots. It makes sense. I could see this as a potential sellout on the Funko Shop website.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is definitely the best Artist Series pop. I'm going to try my best to get this. Obviously, it's not going to be through the Funko Shop, but it probably won't be through eBay either. I will probably wait until I see it at a con, just because I feel like that's the most logical thing to do with this pop. But I do plan on getting this. So moving on, we got the 10-inch Skeletor. I do think this thing's awesome as well, like you said. I think the colors really do look nice together, especially with the black, the orange, and the purple mostly. But then the gold even accents it really well. One thing I find weird is that he kind of has like the same color hands and feet that he normally has, but I do think it still looks cool. And like you said with the orange eyes, purple would look really cool, but I don't know if that's accurate to what they're basing this pop off of.
Before you move on, I just checked the Funko Shop and this has officially sold out.
Wow, even after you said you don't think it's going to sell out, eh?
Yeah, I literally just said, I'm like, usually 10-inch pops don't sell out unless it's Toady the Tiger. Boom, it sells out. I wonder how long it took to sell out, though.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. The thing is that like a lot of people who collect Funko do collect the Masters of the Universe ones, especially like the Bearded Pop Hunter and stuff like that. Moving on next, I'll go with the Black Widow pops here. These are all right. The one of Black Widow herself, like when you look at the pop out of the box, it kind of looks like a Fortnite pop.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's what I thought it was at first. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one, but I do think that the Alexi looks really cool. But like you said, with that figure being so small, that is definitely a recipe for disaster with the paint job. But who knows? Maybe Funko will pull it off and it'll be a really great pop. And I do really think it looks like David Harbour. Then moving on to Rock Lee from Naruto, I think this thing is definitely going to sell very well. The pose looks really good like that. The figure itself looks great as well, and obviously it's Naruto. That's what the fans have been asking for instead of the Boruto. So I do think this will sell very, very well. The Red Hood versus Deathstroke, Like you said, yeah, it is weird that they put like a big number of limited pieces on this thing, but it kind of makes sense because it is a bigger pop moment. What is it? Pop comic book moments?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it says it right there. I think this one's all right. It's not amazing in my opinion. One thing I find weird with it though is that they're standing on top of a roof of a building, but they have like dust shooting up from the bottom of their feet. I just find it weird and I almost don't think it needs to be there, but it's kind of a cool touch of added detail. And then last but not least, we have the Marvel Pops. I think these are awesome. I definitely want to get all of them. The Doctor Strange does look really good, but my favorite has to be the Thor. I think the colors look so cool. I love how the cape is pink on one side and then purple on the other side, and it looks so nice with the baby blue and the yellow for his face and his hair and his boots and some of those other added details. I think it's the best one. I think the worst one is honestly Iron Man, which is kind of sad because it is really good. But like you said, none of these are terrible. They're all awesome.
Wait, did you talk about the alien?
Oh, no, I completely passed through it. I forgot about the alien, so I will talk about that now. This is really cool. Normally, I hate Diamond Collection Pops if they're like not Disney or it's a character that I don't think needs to be Diamond Collection. This one, it kind of came out of left field, in my opinion, where it's like, oh, okay, a Diamond Collection alien, but it does look awesome, and I do plan on getting this Diamond Collection alien, and I think it'll be an easy purchase too.
We are now going to move on to a simple discussion of the future of Funko. So, we thought that 2020 was going to be like an amazing, amazing year. Like 2019 was just through the roof with so many awesome pops. But at the same time, there was a lot of garbage pops at the same time because if there was any year where you can say that Funko was overproducing so many pops, it's 2019. Like 2018 wasn't so bad. Like they were kind of starting, but 2019, you had like so many pops with like 4 different variants, whether it's diamond collection, glow in the dark, chrome, to go along with just one pop so they can keep using the mold. Some were great and some were just terrible, but ever since the whole pandemic started, Emerald City Comic Con canceling, and then Funko creating the first ever virtual con, Funko being forced to close all production practically and all of their like retailer stores. So Funko Hollywood, Funko HQ. I know they got a Funko Europe. It's been really tough on a lot of these companies. Now, recently, it was reported that Funko would be letting go of employees because of the pandemic and how it's making an impact on the company. And the one that was really tough to swallow was Sully, also known as Chris Sully, being one of the 250 people having to be let go from Funko. For those that don't know who Chris Sully is, the best way I can put it is that he is the real life Freddie Funko. Like he was legit the face of Funko. He did all of your news. He's mainly the host of the Funko Funcast, which is pretty much no more at this point. Not only was he released, but well-known members of the Funko Funcast, Ashley and Cameron, were also let go. I don't think Hillary was let go, and I don't think Dima was let go. And that sucks because, like I said, they were practically the faces of Funko and, a huge part of the marketing team. There was a quote that was made recently by an Instagram account. They took a photo. I'll put the photo up actually for everyone to look at. It was simply a photo of a Freddie Funko and his back was faced, almost kind of like some sort of protest. And if I'm not mistaken, the caption was like, "Come for the toys, stay for the people." So basically stating like, yes, we come for the Funko Pops, but we keep staying because of the people that are involved and how they make Funko feel so special, like Chris Sully and Cameron and Ashley.
Yeah, obviously it's really heartbreaking. Like if anyone loses their job, like currently right now, like I still am employed technically at my job, but I'm not working right now because we're shut down. It's definitely a hard time. So for people to lose their job, especially at a company like Funko, where it's like, that's a dream job for a lot of people. I would love to work for a company like that because my whole life pretty much revolves around toys and action figures and stuff. So it's definitely a dream job, and it's very heartbreaking to hear, especially hearing, because even it was you who messaged me. That's how I found out about Sully being one that got fired. And it was just like, why out of all people, like obviously Funko's got to do what they got to do, especially at a hard time like this, but like to cut Sully is just, it was really unbelievable, and it's really sad. And like you said, like, yeah, he's pretty much the face of the company besides like Brian Mariotti, I guess, at that point. But yeah, he's pretty much a real life Freddy Funko, and it's just very, very sad.
People are thinking now like this would be the official start of the downfall of Funko as a company. Like with the amount of overproducing of pops, not a lot of limited pieces, lineups that like nobody really wants. But I guess I will kick off by talking about whether I think that Funko is going to be going anytime soon, which I think not. I think that Funko has so many years to go. I don't think they're anywhere near filing for bankruptcy. I know that their stock did go down a lot when the pandemic started, but they are starting to get back up. And probably they had to do these employee cuts in order to do so. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. If there was a time frame, I would say that they'd be gone. It would be minimum like 5 years. Like I could see them still being around in the next 5 years, going as strong as they pretty much have been the last few years. I think the best is yet to come for Funko. Like I think eventually we will get that whole Nintendo license. Who knows? I'm hoping soon, Small Soldiers license, but everyone can dream, right?
For my opinion on it, one thing is that Funko is literally a household name now. Like you could say Funko to just about anyone, and they pretty much know what you're talking about because they're just everywhere. Another point I wanted to get at was they just opened the Funko Hollywood, so I couldn't see them shutting their doors anytime soon. Obviously, the pandemic came out of nowhere, and that definitely could destroy a business. But for such a powerhouse like Funko, I don't think that will take them down. And here's the thing. Of course, like you said, like they're putting out a lot of stuff that some people might not want to see. But there's so many properties, like you said, with Nintendo and Small Soldiers, for an example, that haven't been done yet. Or even if they have been done yet, there's still so many characters that people want to see. And not only that, there will be more shows and there will be more movies that keep getting released and released, and they can get licenses for those. It will be a never ending thing if they do it properly. It's not like, because a lot of people compare Funko Pops to Beanie Babies, where Beanie Babies were what they were. There's only so many animals in the world, and then once you start having these bears, and then maybe you put like a little stitch on their chest that marks them as a property, like I know I have like the Three Stooges ones. Like they were collectible, obviously, because they were huge at one point, but they're not like Funko Pops where it's an actual figure of this property or license. And it's just like their saying goes, like everyone's a fan of something, right? So I definitely don't see them going anywhere. If it was, I think 5 years is too short. I think they'll be around for almost another decade if they were to close at any point.
All right, so that's going to be basically the end of this podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you smash that like button to let us know that you're enjoying the content being provided to you guys on this channel, including this podcast. Comment in the comments section below on what your opinion is of the future of Funko. Do you think they're going to be closing down soon? Do you think they have such a huge future ahead? Like maybe they're still around for another 5 years, 10 years, 15? Let us know in the comment section below. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell to be notified of when that future content gets released. Also, if you haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at A Funko Podcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, thank you all for listening to this podcast, and we hope to see you guys next week, in which I'm more than certain that next week we will finally be getting to talk about San Diego Comic-Con exclusive pops. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Peace in, peace out.